Dear God, why you never wanna pick my call? I was in the dark and I got flogged. Keeping all my rules, all been alone. The life is a case, but you'll never come through. Hey, you nigga.
They don't want you to know this. For thousands of years, the truth has been buried, rewritten, erased. You've been told that God is the supreme creator, the ultimate being, the beginning and the end. But that's a deception. The version of God that billions worship today? He's not the source. He's not the first. He's not even what he claims to be. The Gnostic texts, banned, burned, and hidden, tell a radically different story. On the origin of the world, a text discovered in the Nag Hammadi library exposes the origins of the being known as Yaldabaoth. Not the benevolent, all-knowing god of mainstream religion, but a false deity. An imposter. A rogue entity that came into existence through an accident, an abomination formed from a mistake in the divine order. And yet, this being had the audacity to declare, "I am God, and there is no one but me." That's where the deception begins. Yaldabaoth wasn't the first. He wasn't the source of all things. He was born from a higher reality, a realm beyond material existence, a place called the Pleroma. In Gnostic cosmology, the Pleroma is the realm of true divinity, a vast and ineffable presence beyond human understanding. From this infinite consciousness came emanations, pure, intelligent forces of creation. Among them was Sophia, an eon, a divine feminine force. But something happened. Sophia, in her immense wisdom and curiosity, acted independently. She sought to create without her divine counterpart. And from this act, a being was formed, Yaldabaoth. A twisted, malformed entity, cut off from the Pleroma, ignorant of his own origins. He was powerful, but incomplete. Blind, yet arrogant. He didn't know where he came from. He only knew that he existed. So, he did what every tyrant in history has done, he declared himself supreme and demanded obedience. He created lesser beings, the Archons, to rule beside him, enforcing his will. He constructed a false heaven, a fabricated realm of control. And then, he built the material world. Everything you see, everything you touch, was forged in his domain. This world wasn't created by a benevolent god, it was a prison. A simulation. A control system designed to keep souls trapped in the cycle of life and death, never realizing their true origins. The great deception was set in motion. Yaldabaoth fashioned humanity, but not out of love. He wanted slaves. He wanted worship. But something unexpected happened. When he breathed life into his creation, something else entered, something beyond his control. A spark from the true divine realm, the Pleroma itself. The human soul. This is where the war began. The Archons, his enforcers, worked to suppress this spark, to keep humanity ignorant, obedient, blind. They gave laws, religions, doctrines, and systems of control, all to reinforce the lie that Yaldabaoth was the one true God. Over centuries, dissenters were silenced, scriptures were altered, knowledge was erased. But fragments of the truth survived. The Gnostic texts, the suppressed wisdom of ancient heretics, hold the key to breaking the illusion. You wake up every morning believing you have free will. You go to work, pay your bills, follow the rules, live and die in a world you assume is your own. But what if everything around you, your choices, your desires, even your thoughts, are part of a construct designed to keep you blind? This isn't metaphorical. This isn't some abstract philosophy. This is what the Gnostic texts have been trying to tell us for thousands of years. You are living in a prison, and you don't even know it. The material world, everything you see, everything you interact with, is a containment system. It was created, not as an act of divine love, but as an act of control. And who controls it? The Archons, cosmic wardens working under the authority of their ruler, Yaldabaoth. These beings are not angels. They are not gods of wisdom or justice. They are parasites, entities that exist solely to maintain dominion over human souls. Their power is deception, and their greatest trick was making you believe that this reality is all there is. Ancient Gnostic texts describe the archons as shapeless entities, existing within the layers of reality like programmers behind a simulation. Their goal? To keep you trapped. To ensure you never realize your true nature. How do they do this? By making you dependent on the physical world. They introduce suffering, pleasure, fear, and desire, not to enrich your experience, but to keep you invested in the system. They manufacture distractions, war, entertainment, politics, social hierarchies, the endless pursuit of wealth and status. All of it keeps you running on a treadmill, never questioning why the world operates the way it does, never realizing you're in a cage. And here's the worst part, they didn't just build the cage. They built your mind to love it. Your perception of reality has been carefully engineered. The archons manipulate thought, bending human consciousness to accept limitations as truth. They implant fear of the unknown, making the idea of breaking free seem terrifying. The moment a person begins to question, to see beyond the veil, the system responds. Social conditioning, religious dogma, even your own instincts, all designed to pull you back into submission. The archons don't need chains to imprison you. They just need you to believe you were never imprisoned to begin with. Gnostic texts suggest that certain individuals, those who possess the divine spark, are capable of perceiving the deception. These are the ones who see beyond the illusions, who understand that the material world is not the final destination. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The system is built to break those who resist. Throughout history, those who have sought to expose the truth have been silenced. Gnostic sects were eradicated, their texts destroyed, their teachings erased. Even now, mainstream narratives mock and discredit anything that challenges the status quo. If someone dares to question the fundamental nature of reality, they are labeled insane, conspiratorial, dangerous. The control is deeper than you think. You were never meant to know the truth. From the moment you were born, everything around you, your education, your culture, your entire belief system, was carefully constructed to keep you in ignorance. Not stupidity. Ignorance. There's a difference. You've been given just enough information to find.
What if God is actually evil? A book banned from the Bible called The Testimony of Truth reveals 4 shocking truths that prove God is a fraud. First, go back to the Garden of Eden. The Testimony of Truth says, first, he maliciously refused Adam from eating from the tree of knowledge. Why would a loving God ban knowledge? Only an evil being would want to keep humanity in the dark. Second, when Adam eats from the tree, God can't find him and says, Adam, where are you? The Testimony of Truth asks, would he not know from the beginning? An all-knowing God probably wouldn't lose a game of hide and seek. Third, instead of a second chance, God bans Adam and Eve from paradise forever. The Testimony of Truth says, surely he has shown himself to be a malicious grudger. Fourth, God curses their descendants and proudly admits to being a jealous God who punishes children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren for their parents' sins. Would you punish the innocent because of someone else? The Testimony of Truth is saying that these 4 truths prove that this so-called God is an imposter, saying that anyone who can't see this is blind. Do you see the truth?
I believe that God actually exists, except the God that exists that created this universe and the multiverse, not in the Quran, not in the Torah, not in the Talmud, not in the Bible, not in the Sumerian tablets, not in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, not in the Mahabharata, not in the Bhagavad Gita, not in the Indian Vedas, not in the Epic of Atrahasis, not in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I can keep going. Guess what, guys? I'm one of the foremost world leader in the knowledge on ancient texts and tablets, scriptures, papyruses, and cylinder scrolls. And guess what? In all the ones I've gone through over thousands over the years, not one of them is speaking about the creator of the universe, which is real. I acknowledge that. Matter of fact, so did the Anunnaki. They claimed to know that they were going to get in trouble for what they did on this planet by the creator of all, which tells you that they knew they weren't the creator of all, that there was somebody even above them, an entity, an energy, a life force of something above them that had a say-so, and they would have to find judgment one day. So they knew they weren't God, even though they masqueraded as God. They became the gods of the Torah and the Talmud and the Bible and the Quran and all these texts. The Elohim, which means plural, gods with an S.
This life is all about time. When my time comes, no one can stop me. One thing I love about myself is that I encourage myself. I motivate myself. I believe in myself, and I know God won't fail me.